Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I'm so happy to share with you all the projects I have lined up for Halloween this year. All the products that I have purchased for the projects are from Dollar Tree, so let's get started. We're going to start off with trick-or-treating bags, and these are so adorable. I picked up this little kitten and some of this tulle ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and we're gonna dress her up, literally. So what I'm going to do is, because this particular ribbon is so wide, I'm just going to take it and fold it in half. And the idea is to scrunch it up and give it a little bit of a skirt to the bottom. So we're just going to go ahead and take it and working in small pieces, we're going to scrunch it up and glue it onto the bottom portion of the bag and give it the skirt. If you have the silicone finger protectors, I highly recommend you use them for this portion of the project. So we're going to start off by working in small areas and doing small strips of the hot glue, and then do the skirt and then move on along accordingly. Otherwise the glue will get cold and we will not have the sticky tacky factor that we need from the glue gun or the glue sticks for this to work. So as I fold one layer of the ribbon down, I move just slightly over to the right, just slightly, and then fold another one and glue on top of the original that I had glued down. And this way you have this pleated effect for a tulle skirt. And I simply repeat that process until the front part of the skirt is done. I'm going to show you a few more bits here so that you get a better idea of how I'm creating those pleats. And of course, you do not have to use this ribbon. You can use any tulle that you would like. Tulle is probably going to be easier for you to work with because you can scrunch it up and put it onto the strip of glue and then move forward. I just chose to do it this way just because I loved the green color, which complemented its eyes and the ears. Now that we finished the front, I'm just going to take that extra end piece and fold it underneath and glue it down to give it a more finished look. Continue the same process for both of the sides. Now that she's all dressed up nice and pretty, we're going to give her a nice green bow. I'm going to take the same ribbon and fold it in half. Then I'm going to scrunch that half together, and with a strip of the ribbon, I'm going to tie that in the back. And I'm going to trim the excess off the two sides of the bow, and then with a small dab of glue, I'm going to glue it to the top of the bag. And here is the final product. I'm so happy with the way this came out. It is so stinking cute and adorable. My daughters absolutely love this one. Next up, I'm going to make another treat bag, but with this one, we're going to utilize the lantern print, as well as we're going to need the witch's legs made of fabric and a tool of your choice. So first off, we're going to size it up and see how long we want the legs to be in proportion to the actual bag. So counting from the top black strip, I'm going 5 black strips down and cutting it from there, and then I'm going to save the ring and save the tulle on the ring for later use. Next, I'm going to stuff the legs with cotton balls to give it a 3D effect. The easiest way to do this is to scrunch up the stocking and then do one cotton ball at a time and build yourself up as you go. This part is fun for the kiddos to contribute to, as it is safe and it's fun for them to do something and contribute to the project. Here is my little helper in action. So we're going to do the same process to both of the witch's legs until we fill it up to about 1/2 inch to 1 inch off of the top. We're going to leave that portion empty. And this is what we have so far. Now I'm going to take the legs and position them to the place on the back that I'd like them to be. I'm going to take a pair of sharp scissors and cut a very small semicircle in the areas where I want the legs to be. Now I'm going to take one of the legs and slip it into the slit I just created. Make sure you have the feet pointing the directions that you intend to for this step. Now I'm going to take the bag and pull it through inside out, and then we're going to pull through the top half of the legging through the slit. Next, I'm going to secure the leg to the inside of the bag using a glue gun. Now that we have one leg down, we're going to repeat the same process for the second leg, making sure the foot is pointing the direction you intend to. After both of the legs have been secured, we're going to go ahead and dress her up with some tulle. I'm going to lay a small strip of glue down to the bottom half of the bag, going from one point corner to the other pointed corner, and I'm just going to scrunch up the tulle and stick it onto the bag. I'm going to repeat the same process until I finish going across the bag. And this is what it looks like. Now, because it looks a little bit bare to me, I'm just going to go ahead and do a second layer. You can do as many layers as you wish. It's completely up to you until you have your desired effect. Now, to give the shoes a finished look, I'm going to take the tulle off of the ring that we had on the leggings in the very start of the project, and I'm just going to take the tulle and basically on the stitch line where the leg meets the foot, I'm going to do a small dab of strip glue and then do the same thing, scrunch up the tulle and glue it down to that section. Here is what we have so far. I got a thumbs up from my little helper, which is a great sign, and here is the final product. Oh my goodness, between the two treat bags, I personally am going to have a hard time choosing a favorite because I love them both for different reasons, but they're so adorable, so unique, and the kids love them because they stand out. And so I hope you guys try this at home and see how easy it is to jazz something up that is otherwise somewhat basic. Next up, I'm going to show you how to make a skeleton candy basket tower. For this project, you're going to need 2 of the webbed baskets from Dollar Tree. They come in orange and purple as well, so whatever choice of color you like, that's perfectly fine. And then we're going to need the skeleton and a dowel. First, we're going to puncture a hole in the middle of the baskets. You can use the glue gun to burn the hole, or you can use a pair of sharp scissors. Skelly says hi, but sadly enough, we do have to take Skelly apart for this project. Show Skelly some love by commenting down below with a skeleton emoji. It comes with buttons which you can easily snap on and off. Just make sure to save them so that we can put them back together again. Next, I'm going to decide on the overall composition of the structure and where everything is going to be in relation to each other. I'm also going to decide how much of the dowel I need. Once I have decided on the overall layout, I'm going to take the dowel and put it through the middle of the basket and reinforce it with glue. You will need to hold the dowel down in its position until the glue slightly dries so that the dowel is standing on its own. I then glued the skeleton onto the dowel and I laid its pelvis area onto the basket to make it more stable. And this is what it looks like in the back. Skelly's legs were a little too long for this project, so we're going to utilize this to our advantage. We're going to take the 2 femur bones, which are the thigh bones, and use these to hide all the glue gun work that we have in the spine area. I took a pair of sharp scissors and cut the 2 rounded areas on the femur bones from the top and bottom to make sure that it sizes up to the back of the skeleton. And this is what it looks like with just the one on there. You can see how well it covers everything up and just gives it an overall finished look. I'm going to be using small dabs of glue to make sure that I can finish this off the neatest way possible. And this is what we have so far. Don't worry, Skelly, we'll put you back together soon enough. We're just checking to make sure that it's stable enough and it's not leaning any which way. Now we're going to add the second basket to the top, and we just need the smallest amount of dowel protruding from the top so that we can add the headpiece to this area. And there we go, Skelly has his head bag. Hang in there, Skelly, you're almost whole again. And here is what we have so far. You can see the happiness in Skelly's eyes and almost being whole again, but we still have the legs to go. As for the legs, I do recommend for you to position them according to where the overall piece will be sitting. So you can have it dangling off of the counter or sitting within the basket itself. Whatever you choose, just make sure to secure it in place. And here is the final product. Skelly is whole once again. He is ecstatic about it. You can see how excited he is. You gotta admit, he's quite charming as well. This is such a wonderful piece. It is exactly as I had imagined it to be, and then some. It is whimsical, very interactive, and the kids are going to love it. If you enjoyed Skelly, give his brother Charlie a try too. Charlie is one that we built last year, and all the kids loved interacting with Charlie's hands and positioning them in funny ways. It was so much more than just a candy tray, but we absolutely loved how this one came out. It was one of my most famous ideas and my most proudest ideas I've had for Halloween, so give that one a try. I'll link up the video above. The next project we're going to be making is a witch's cauldron candy bowl made from a carvable pumpkin from Dollar Tree. These pumpkins come in black and also orange, so it's completely up to you whichever one you choose. I also picked up a carving set that I'm going to use to carve out the top part of the pumpkin. I'm going to use the carving knife to carve the top of the pumpkin open. Make sure you exercise caution when you're doing this step. Now that the pumpkin has been carved, I'm going to take my green puff paint from Dollar Tree, and going around the pumpkin, I'm going to drizzle it as if it is the witch's brew drizzling out of the cauldron. And this is what we have so far. While the puff paint now dries, we're going to touch up the white areas on the cauldron/pumpkin. Next, I'm going to take these metal binder rings that I found in the office supply section and attach it to the sides of the cauldron, and these will be the handles. Next, I'm going to take some basket fillers and fill up the cauldron. This is going to be a nice bedding for the candy to sit on. Now for the candy. I found these googly eyes at the Dollar Tree Halloween candy section, and I thought it was the most fitting to this project, so I'm going to fill it up with some of these googly eye candy pieces. I also found these zombie finger lollipops, which I thought was also fitting for this project. However, you can choose to do any candy that you like. And this is the finished product. This came out so wonderful. I love the look of the witch's cauldron brewing over with poison and the eyeballs with the zombie finger suckers in there. This is such a fun addition to any Halloween decor. Next, I'm going to show you how one basic color wreath for Halloween can give you endless possibilities for design. Let's get started. So for my basic wreath color, I have chosen the color black. I figured you can't go wrong with black because it's so fitting to Halloween, and you can really accent colors with black very easily. So here I have a bunch of mesh rolls that I bought from Dollar Tree in black, and I'm cutting it in different strips. I'm not really measuring it at this point. I just have the mat underneath it so I can easily cut it, but I also have some pipe cleaners here. You want to do a bunch of these strips, and then we're going to go ahead and do it in bundles. And then if you want your pipe cleaners to last you longer, take the pipe cleaners and cut it in half, and then you'll have twice as many to use. After I've cut a good amount of the strips, I'm going to take the strips and roll them into cylinders. And you want to make sure the edges are pointing out to give you better results and less frazzled look for your overall design. Now I'm going to take a pipe cleaner and scrunch it in the middle and tie it up with a pipe cleaner. The key to this design working is that we're not going to glue anything down. We're simply going to be using pipe cleaners to attach items to the wreath. Here's another one I'm going to show you. I'm simply rolling it up the way that the ribbon wants to naturally roll up, or the mesh I should say, and I'm leaving the edges pointing out and tying it up. So this whole project I'm keeping in mind, I want to make sure that I'm keeping it as basic as possible and as simple as possible for people that are intimidated to use mesh to do so very easily. Here I have a bunch of the bundles that I have already made, and I've simply attached it to the wreath using the pipe cleaners that I've used to tie up the mesh. For this project, I will be using the middle row to attach my mesh bundles using the pipe cleaner. Here I'm going to flip the wreath over to the back side so that you can see the whole process. I'm simply using the same pipe cleaner that I used to tie up the mesh, and I'm simply twisting that and then tucking it inward so that it does not scratch the surface of whatever I'm going to be hanging on. I also wanted to note that the place where I cut the mesh from has a tendency to unravel, so I make sure to roll the mesh in such a way where the ends are tucked into the back of the wreath and the bundles as I'm making it, so this way we will have a better overall look. I repeat this process until I have a fuller looking wreath. And this is what we have so far. Now I'm ready to add my overall accent colors. For my accent colors, I will be using green and purple. So for that, I'm cutting out more mesh, and these will be in green and purple again with the same process involved. I'm making sure to tuck in where I cut the mesh to the end of the bundle, rolling up the bundle as I did before, and attaching it to the wreath using a pipe cleaner. And I did the same with the purple. You can see with the overall process, nothing has changed. Now I'm going to put my accent colors on the basic black wreath to see what I want to do with the overall design. This is a great way to understand what you want to do with the design before you go ahead and attach it onto the wreath directly using the pipe cleaners. And again, I'm keeping the overall design as basic as possible so that anyone could try this if they wanted to get started with mesh. But you can totally do ribbons, you can do different colored bundles with ribbons, whatever you choose to do is up to you. Now I'm taking this sign that I found at the Dollar Tree, which is very fitting and perfect to my overall look that I'm going for, and I'm going to take the sign apart by pulling off the little ribbons on the back. To those signs, I'm going to attach a mesh pipe cleaner on the back so that I can tie these easily to the wreath. Again, note that I'm not going to be gluing the signs directly onto the wreath unless you want to. It's completely up to you, but for the diversity of the project to work, I'm going to be using pipe cleaners to attach anything that I'd like to so that I can change out the design again in the future with ease. I'm not going to go overboard with this design. I'm keeping it as simple as possible. I'm attaching the ornaments that I got from the Dollar Tree again to the wreath using pipe cleaners. Now for the spooky aspect, we're going to attach some eyeball ornaments, and this is the overall look. I loved how this came out. It was so simple to do, so wonderful because you have such great diversity of design you can use the same wreath for. I also attached some of the Dollar Tree spiders onto the wreath just to give it a little bit more jazz, but overall very easy to do. So just to give you an idea, this is the first look using the same black wreath, and then this is the second look using the same black wreath again. You can see how easily you can change out the color accents just to change out the overall look of the wreath, and gives you so much diversity and endless design possibilities you can do. You can elaborate with this as much as possible. I kept it as simple as possible for everybody to make it easier. On to our next project, I will be showing you how to make a haunted village centerpiece for your table. For this project, you're mainly going to be needing some houses from Dollar Tree as well as some plaques where we can put the houses on, and some foam with black paint, but the number of houses really depends on how long of a piece you want to make this. I'm making mine pretty long, it's about a 4-feeder, so I'm going to be using 20 houses all in all. So the first step is to paint all the houses the color of your choice. I'm going with the black because I really love the black silhouette look of haunted houses, especially these laser cut ones. And as you can see, I have my wonderful little helper here helping out with this. We will be painting both the front and the back of the houses. Once the houses have been painted and dried, I'm taking about 7 of the floral foams that I got from Dollar Tree and lining them up in a straight line back to back. Next, I'm taking the boards and I'm placing it on top of the foams so that I can see the overall layout of the design that I'm going to be working on. Just to give you an idea, this is what we have so far. Once I have determined the overall layout, I'm going to go ahead and glue the foams down onto the boards. It is important to note during this step, I'm keeping both of the boards separate so that I can easily deconstruct the piece once I'm ready to store it away. For this project, I also picked up a couple of these garlands. I'm going with mostly the black and silver. I picked up the purple just to see which one I'm going to be using, but I'm going to share with you why it's important to use these garlands at a later time in the video, as they're going to serve a different purpose as well. So I'm also going to be laying out my houses against the foam board just to see what type of a layout I want before I glue them down. Next, after I have determined the layout of the houses, I will be gluing down the dowels to the edges of the board, making sure that they don't peek out of the houses. And if you do not have dowels, you can definitely use Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree toy aisle to do this process as well. And this is what we have so far. It is also important to note here that I'm choosing to do the same houses one across from the other, and you will see the purpose of that as well. To make this piece easy to store away after Halloween, I'm going to be gluing the dowels opposite to each other on one board, as opposed to gluing the dowels to the middle of the board to hinge it all together, so to speak, because this way I can separate out the pieces and store the pieces separately in storage. By doing this, you can see how easily you can bring the pieces together or take them apart. This is a very wide and tall project, so it's hard for me to capture it all on one screen. So just to give you an idea where we're at, this is what we have so far with the project. Now I'm going to take the garland and wrap it around the foam area of the project, and I will be doing this on the 2 separate pieces until it's all completely covered. Next, I'm going to take the black paint and paint the dowels black to give it a more finished look. I'm also going to touch up the edges of the houses that we missed during the painting process. Next, to cover this pumpkin up, I'm going to be using this chalkboard crop it stickers that I found at the Dollar Tree Crafter Square section, and it's basically black vinyl that I will be cutting it to size, and this is what it looks like on the second piece when it's covered up, and this is pretty much what I'm going to do with the other. Next, I have decided to put lights in between the houses to make it glow for the night. Let me show you how to go about doing this. So the key here is to make sure that the second pattern lies perfectly to the back of the first one, and you want to match up the design basically. So here is an example from the front view. I'm matching up the design, and just in case if it doesn't sit right, because we have this little bump on the bottom of this particular pattern, I am going to take a sharp scissors and basically cut that part off. You can see here that I'm able to accomplish this with regular scissors. I don't need any specific power tools to cut the pieces off. Now that the houses perfectly match in pattern, I'm going to show you how to do the light installation. First off, we're going to start by putting all the batteries in the light packs, and then before you screw on the cap, make sure they work. Next, I'm going to plan on the entry and the exit of the light strings. So for this one, I will be starting on the right hand side by the grave site, which I want to highlight as well. And you want to make sure the bulb is slightly lower to where the design is to get that glow effect. The key here is to use one light bulb per element to highlight that element in the most effective way. And the most effective way is to put the light bulb as close to the design as possible so that it has a glow effect when you put it against the other silhouette of the house. And you want to hide the wiring in between the windows, so when you do put the silhouette against the other house and the patterns match up, you're not exposing any of the wiring. A technique that I use to contain the wiring in this project is what I call a bridge glue. And what you do is you put some of your glue on one side of the wiring and then take it to the other side opposing to that, and it creates this bridge effect containing the wiring. You will see that being used many times in this project. I repeat this process until the strings lights are done per house, and I have about 10 houses, so I will be doing this process for the rest of the houses as well. Just to give you an idea, this is what we have so far. I'm just putting the last touches on the wiring, making sure I use that bridge technique that I told you about, and then making sure the lights work before I put it all together. For this next step, I leave the lights on and then match up the patterns together, and this will allow me to see if there's any wiring being exposed that I need to redo that section again or not. Once I'm satisfied with the look, I'm going to use my glue gun and only glue the tops of the patterns together. I'm not entirely sure as to why, but on camera the lights look blue when in reality it's very much purple, but either way it looks good. And if you put your patterns up together correctly and you don't have any exposed wiring, this is what it should look like. You see all the highlighted effects of the windows and the eerie glows that it creates, and I love this effect. So I'm gonna repeat this 9 more times because I have 9 other houses to do. As for the decorations, I found these wonderful adhesive felt pieces to use, and it comes in a pack of I think 20 pieces, and it has pumpkins, bats, as well as ghosts in it. I will be only using the ghosts from this pack. I also found a pack of wooden bats that I will be painting in black to use for this project. In addition, I also picked up 2 of these styrofoams where we're going to paint it as black, and then they will have trees on top of them. So we want to make sure everything is coherent with color. And I have my little helper here, as you can see, helping me do this. This is a great place again for the kids to get involved with painting. I wanted to show you how I glued down some of the ghosts on the houses, as well as what I'm going to be doing with the styrofoam. You can see the styrofoam is now dry, and I tucked it in under a creepy cloth, and I have some of these black branches that we picked up from Dollar Tree, and those will be stuck onto the foam, and they're going to be like the creepy trees within the houses. And then some of the ghosts you can see are peeking out of the houses, and some of them are outside of the house haunting the village. So it's really up to you what you want to do with these. There's so many ways you can go with it. You can go a different direction completely and do skeletons. You can do witches. You can do pumpkins, whatever you like. It's really up to you. Now remember, earlier in the video I said it's important to use these Dollar Tree garlands for this project, and this is the reason why. Is because you can easily hide your battery packs underneath the garland. You have the choice of gluing it down and or just hiding it like I am. Make sure if you do glue it down, you do glue it down in a way that you can actually change the batteries if you have to with ease. So that is an important step in this process. This is what it looks like without any lights on. Pretty spectacular. And then this is what it looks like with the lights on. This was such a wow factor on this project, and it was really important to me to have the duality on both sides of the project to be visible for anybody sitting behind the table. I don't want them to be looking at the back end of a project. Basically, I want them to have the full experience as anybody having to sit in the front of the table. So this was very neat to do, and it was very, very fun to do. This idea came to me when I was walking through the aisles and I saw the silhouettes of the houses, and I wanted to first do single layer of the houses, and then I'm like, why am I just doing it so basic? Let's take it up a notch and put some lights in here, put some ghosts in here. It's going to be super cute. And look at the length of this piece. It's about a 4-feeter, and again, in the middle section, this all easily assembles for storage, so that's another added benefit. But look at this guy, he's so cute, and I love the ghosts. They came out wonderful. My favorite part is when the lights are all off and the piece really comes to life. Well, friends, I thank you so much for joining me yet again for another spectacular Halloween project lineup. I hope you get to try some of these projects yourselves and see how wonderfully easy it is to do them. Also, comment down below and let me know which one of these projects was your favorite. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up down below. Also, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. All these actions help in the growth and support of the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you back for another.